You're listening to That's a Shame.
Yeah, just go for it.
Go for it.
Talk to Greg.
Right, can you guys say hello? You're listening to That's a Shame.
Yeah.
Go for it. Whenever you're
Hello, you're listening to That's a Shame podcast.
Yeah.
Look for the bare necessities, the simple bare necessities.
Hello and welcome to episode 65 of That's a Shame. I'm Declan, and opposite me, head bowed in either reverence or exasperation. Who can
Exhaustion.
tell these days? It is Isaac.
How are you doing?
Not too bad.
Good.
Very full. Just had a lovely bowl of vegan chili.
Why not rub it in more?
Wow. Well, you were
I've had a
welcome to
bottle
some.
of Skittles. A bottle of Skittles.
bottle of Skittles.
That's what I mean. Did you ever used to have the Starburst briefly did a drink? Did you have
did.
it? It was horrible. It was the most it was just melted Starburst, pretty much.
That's why I loved it.
No, it was too sweet, too rich, too syrupy. Anyway, episode
That's what
65.
you said on the form, anyway. In the
I
long
complained
email.
to Frankie and Benny's yesterday.
I mean, first of all, why were you in?
Because I was really hungry and it was the closest restaurant to the cinema that we were both going to. And I had an hour to kill. And they had mac and cheese and I just thought that would hit the spot.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, it was very poor.
Oh, no.
It was so small. I counted 48 pieces of pasta and they were tiny little macaroni tubes. So
Oh,
that was already
God.
a joke. It was hotter than the surface of the sun, which didn't improve any aspect of the eating, especially as I was so hungry.
Potentially disguised the taste.
Yeah, which was not there. And then to test that, I allowed it to cool for a bit and then tried it, and it somehow tasted even less.
Oh, good.
So while I was sitting there, I just loaded the website and was like writing a scathing review like I was...
Currently, I am
Gill. So let's see. But people are good when you do that. Like I have probably done that 5 times in my whole life. But one time, me and my friend Jacob invented this character and started a blog for him many years ago called Donny Ontipossit Couquet.
Oh, yes.
And he was the kind of, as the name suggests, he was very fastidious.
Yes.
He complained about a lot of stuff, and we did very well out of it. We complained about like a bag of pasta opening weirdly, and Sainsbury's sent us like £50 of vouchers. How good is that?
wow.
So what I'm saying is we could complain about all sorts.
Absolutely start that.
Look, here's a very direct link here. That Kindle sitting over there on my bed. I've had it
I see
for
it.
how long? 4 days, 5 days, a week, something like
Yeah.
that. About a week. Well, don't know if you can see from there, but there's a small scratch on the screen. Now, that was the driver, wasn't it? When he delivered it,
Oh.
wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's what I noticed.
Yeah.
Have I told the story about how the woman pretended it was my birthday for him to deliver
Yes.
it? Yeah.
Oh, well, to me,
Yeah.
not to the listener.
Not to the show. Well, that's the story anyway. The man didn't want to deliver it. And was like, oh, I can't do this delivery. So the Amazon woman called him up and was like, it's his birthday. You really need to. And then it made an awkward corridor moment. But anyway, so the weird thing about this Kindle is that I looked in my bank statement to see how much they charged me for it, because the delivery had like come up as not having worked because the guy had been like, oh, fuck that,
Yeah.
I'm not delivering it. So they refunded it, but then the woman was like, oh no, but he can deliver it. So he arrived a bit later. And so I assumed they'd just charge me again. But what actually happened was they paid in £90 into my account. And then the next day took it back out. So I'm at level 0 for this Kindle, which I'm getting swapped out for a new one. So I've done quite well. It's a very small scratch, but I thought, I'd spend most of my
You
life
and
looking at
Donny,
it.
you're very particular.
Yeah, we're fastidious chaps. How's your life going at the moment?
Yeah, not too bad. I'm back to work this week because last week I had pretty much the whole week off.
Because it was half term.
Exactly. I didn't just decide. I don't have that luxury.
No.
But
much, no.
this week I'm back on.
Horrid, is it?
It's not dreadful. I've mostly managed to get rid of all of my morning stuff,
That's
or all
good.
of my awkward morning stuff. I don't mind a Wednesday or a Thursday morning because who's
You feel
doing
like
anything
you're-
on a Tuesday or a Wednesday?
It's like a penance as well. It feels
Yeah,
like you earn the
exactly.
rest of your
But I
slow
have told those Saturday morning cunts to fuck off.
Oh, bye guys.
I mean, because I was supposed to go Saturday just gone. What was happening Friday night? Oh, I went to see a comedy show with Freddie on Friday night, and I didn't get back till late, and then I was up even later, and it just got to that time of the night where I thought,
The cancellation hour.
here we go.
Yeah.
There, we've passed the point of no return.
Yeah.
So I sent them a message, and I had to have a little check of my excuse roster.
Uh-huh.
Turns out it was thoroughly exhausted.
You have
for
to
these
create a whole
people.
new one.
I had to create a new level,
A bespoke.
which it seems now is the cutoff.
Is it the nuclear option?
Yeah, this is it. It was that Grandad's. He's not well.
I thought it was his funeral.
No, he's not well. He's in the
that's
hospital,
another one,
you
then.
see, and I was having to go back home to look after my siblings.
Back home to hospital.
I was considering making home like abroad, like the
Also,
Ukraine or something.
What do you mean look after your siblings?
Because my parents are too busy at the hospital.
Right, and how old were your siblings in your imagined head?
4?
Oh, right.
6?
They've
I
got
don't
one
know.
24-year-old.
It wasn't very fleshed out. It was shamelessly, unabashedly transparent.
Yeah, but it's that level of transparent where like you're committed to it to the point that if they question it, then they are like opening themselves up
and
to
you're
a
like,
real...
well, you haven't questioned any of the rest. Plus, this
if
time,
that one happened to be true,
Yeah.
you would feel so bad about it.
Plus, it was rather intentionally transparent because in the same message, I was letting them go. I was letting them go gently.
Yeah.
These were the people who, I might have mentioned it on the podcast, I had to basically audition for.
In what
And
way?
then, well, as in, I was being trialled against 2 other tutors.
Oh, wow.
And they went with me, much to my regret. But
Did they tell you that?
They
like
were-
in
yeah.
no uncertain terms?
Yeah.
Before you sit down, Mr. Delane, I think you should know.
yeah, no, they let me know.
Wow,
straight
they
up.
sound horrid.
But they were the ones who they asked for a small discount.
Chokers.
And I was like, I could probably do that if you can guarantee me the 2 hours work at least a week. And they said, oh yeah, we'll need at least 2 hours a week until the boys take their GCSEs. And one was 11.
Oh, yeah.
And the other was 8. So
Bloody hell.
that was my
That's a
8-year
commitment
contract.
I'm not willing
so
to join.
I figure if you stay in that for more than 4 months, you are legally obliged to do
Yeah,
the
you
full
would have
8
been
years.
there.
So I just said to them, look,
It's not you.
I said,
No,
much,
it is you.
much though I've enjoyed shaking my head furiously as I wrote it, much though I've enjoyed my time tutoring the boys, I feel as though it may be best if you go in another direction, tutor-wise. My life has become far more hectic since I took on the job, and
Brackets,
I
better
just,
things to do.
I just don't want to let you down again because, in no uncertain terms, 9 a.m. on a Saturday is a sadistic time to make your child be tutored or to
Oh
make
yeah, I
someone
hadn't even
tutor
thought
your
about the
child.
poor kids getting up to do that. Very depressing.
I wanted to find, I mean, because I have been trying to find a way out of this for a little while at least, because I don't mind. There's 2. The younger one, he's fine.
Yeah.
He's actually the smarter of the 2, really, and he's quite fun. He's a bit of a handful sometimes, but you're 8, you might as well be.
Yeah, I guess.
But he knows his stuff. You just got to get him to say it. The other one, the 11-year-old,
Idiot.
he was one of the most. I've never wanted to punch a child as much as I just wanted to hit this fucking little dickhead
And
kid.
now listeners may recoil at what sounds like a lot of, pent-up rage there. But actually what you should do is applaud Declan for the restraint
Yeah,
that
exactly.
he's shown, because
There you go.
that's within him. But you haven't hit him, have you?
I could have.
You've had so many opportunities.
It was a first floor because it was like a townhouse, and it was first floor, the room where we were doing it, and it was just a big like patio door at the back, like huge like French windows at the back, and I just had vision just throwing
Amanda
him through
flipping
them,
him off.
straight through, like that bit at the start of Watchmen where he throws the comedian out and it's all slow mo, just see him like falling down.
Oh.
He was
And you
just,
didn't?
I didn't. No, I. You will be pleased to know.
I think there's an extra field on your DBS check where they put that. They're like,
Defenestration.
no, he's thought about this stuff, but he still hasn't done it. Like, that's extra
And
credit.
it works in your favour. Yeah.
Yeah,
It actually takes off one crime that you
You get to choose one.
he was not unintelligent, but he had the shortest attention span, and he would exhibit it in some of the most grating and frankly insulting ways. In that, in the last 3 weeks that I tutored them, here are some of the things he did. We sat down to start, and I opened my mouth and I went, and I said that, and he just got up and he walked round to the back of the television and got the phone and brought it to the table.
Right.
And put it down. And I hadn't seen either of his parents. I thought maybe his mum was like had gone to the shops or something. He was getting the phone. So I started talking. I was like, so this week I figured what we could do, we go through some of the like literary techniques that we talked about last time and see if we can remember what they. And he pressed a button on the phone and looked at it, and then he just looked back at me.
Well, is this a house phone? Just like a landline?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I sort of looked at him for a second, and then carried on. Okay, so so I'm going to write down a list of literary techniques, and I'm going to get you to try and provide an. And he leant forward and he pressed the button on the phone again.
What
And that's
button?
it. Just any button.
They don't do anything.
And well, that's why I asked. I was like, what are you doing? And he went, just checking the time.
Oh,
mate! I was like,
mugged off.
Right. If you think that's bad, right?
That's like a power move.
About a week before that, I just grabbed the phone and threw it away.
Should have just bitten it in 5 pieces like a Toblerone.
Or just swallowed
Spat
it
him in his
whole.
face.
Just pushed it straight down.
That's
The
so
week
funny.
beforehand, he's studying Midsummer Night's Dream, but they aren't given a copy. And he hadn't makes it a whole lot
school did he go
harder.
to?
But and like his parents hadn't got him one.
Good.
And so I was having to lug that fucking complete works of Shakespeare to and fro. So I got it out and I went, right, so Midsummer Night's Dream. And I was like, okay, just give me a second to find it. And he thought that meant I'm going to go over here and play trucks while you flick through the book. And I was
How
like,
old is this kid?
11.
He's playing with trucks at 11.
I know.
That's
It's a
weird,
shame.
isn't it?
So he came back. And I think the last one, the one that infuriated me more than anything, was his willful
Asked out your
refusal to let her just take me to focus on a question. I'd say to him, so we started reading Harry Potter, the first one, which he claimed was, quote, too difficult,
Wow.
which it was not.
Okay.
He's just lazy.
There's a lot of trucks to be getting on with.
Exactly. And I asked him, what company does Mr. Dursley work for?
Is that Prime Minister Dursley?
No.
Oh, right, no, it's
Father
in
of
the other
Dillsbury or whatever.
Dilbury, yeah. Fucking hell.
And he'd go,
Just a big sigh.
I don't know. I'd be like, well, it's in those 3 pages.
That's
that we
what's
read.
helpful, isn't it, I find?
So if you have a look, and he'd like look, and then he'd look, like turn the page and look, and he'd just sort of like look away for a bit, and then it would seem totally forget that he'd ever been asked a question, or indeed that I was there, until I'd sit. I sat once to see how long he would let a silence last. 3 minutes.
Wow.
I just sat looking at him.
What was he looking at?
Anywhere. He was just sort of
Not
like
you,
looking
then?
around. Nope. And then I went, so
You're dust. to
where
this
does
boy.
where does he work? And he went, Who?
Guys, he's
so-
going to be like middle management for
Yep.
his entire life, like high up middle management.
I mentioned an exercise that I got him to do. I've got it here.
Oh.
The one about I'd write down
The boring
some
one?
yeah. I'd write down some literary techniques and he could write an example.
Oh,
for each of
yes.
them. Yeah.
I do this I cycle it through based on when they've forgotten
Exactly.
that they did it last time.
For since if I ever ask them, to list 5 techniques and they can't do it, I get them to do
here
this
we
again.
go. You brought this on yourself.
Technique quiz. So the 6 that I gave him were the first 5 are probably like just decent. The 6th was just for my own amusement. Little did I know that the first 5 were cause enough. So they were simile, metaphor,
Okay. Yeah, the
personification, alliteration,
Old fave.
onomatopoeia, and rhyme.
Oh, the rhyme. I know him.
So, simile. The elephant was like a gigantic skyscraper.
Okay. Shame to diminish its size by comparison, but that's
Yep.
fine.
Metaphor. The boy was a son.
Oh, or you?
You.
Okay. What did he mean?
I don't know. Right? We'll come back to personification. Onomatopoeia. Crash. Good.
Yeah. That's
Okay.
a solid one.
I was going to say I gave that one a tick, but I literally didn't. Rhyme. There was a boy who liked to play with his fun toy. Doesn't scan very well.
Not very well, no. Bracket trucks.
Alliteration. Funny fish.
PH.
I just like that
PH.
the bare minimum of alliteration being 2 words was all he bothered
Funny
with.
fish.
And then personification. His first attempt was the book read to me. I said, absolutely not. Try again. He wrote, the chair moved.
Wow. And you're not staying with this family.
I have fucked him right off.
Bloody hell. I was doing, this just reminded me, one of my best students is a year 9 who's just really into like horror films. Just is always giving me film recommendations and things.
Yeah.
And we were doing an exercise. She's basically like very good at English and doesn't need to have a tutor.
Yeah.
So we mostly do like creative writing exercises and things like that. We were doing a thing where we write like a sentence of a story and see where it goes. And there's a real curveball that she threw in here.
That's always
I
good.
think you should. I'm going to read it just as written.
Okay.
See if you can pick up on when the story takes a turn.
All right, okay.
Because there's some real mood being set here.
All right, okay.
Once upon a time, there was a cottage in the woods. That was my opener to kind of cement it in a very simple style. I didn't want it to go off the rails.
Well done for cottage, not cabin, so as not to infringe on copyright. That is its
Come
own
on.
lesson.
Of course. That's one of my 5 classic lessons. The cottage was quite small with little windows and no door. Nearby, a small river frothed and foamed over a smattering of sharp rocks which jutted out from the shallows. These rocks weren't normal rocks, they were vibranium rocks.
Okay.
Now that's a mini curve.
That's a little curveball, but that's fair.
Yeah, I mean, it's in vogue. It's the kind of thing that could
yeah.
happen. As night fell, blue light spilled out of the windows like paint dripping from a bottle. The light accumulated and turned into a wispy grey fog. At the stroke of midnight, as if in a fairy tale, which I think I took to be a bit of a kind of meta joke,
Yeah, that's all right.
a figure appeared where the door would have been, his face covered by a hood. His raspy breath was heard for miles and feared by everyone, because when he came, death was soon to come.
It's a shame when kids write sentences like that.
Got any grapes? Said Jess. Yes, he said. And then in italics, Mwahaha, she will be my first victim. He led her into the forest.
Oh, no.
Are the grapes here? Yes, he replied. Jess was small for her age.
Is this person okay?
She's
Have
fine.
they got anything they want to tell you?
A bright shock of red hair sat atop her face that was the picture of innocence. She was dressed in a green smock, ill-fitting and falling apart. She was not the brightest bulb in the chandelier, but she was willing to do anything in the name of grapes. What a sentence.
In the name of grapes!
Her mother always told her, where was it? Jess, you won't go far in life, but you'll always have your grapes. And have them she would. As they rounded the river bend, the Sandman eyed his prey with a glint. She wouldn't make for much of a meal for his bird homies, but it would have to do.
His bird homies. Was that you?
No, it actually wasn't.
No.
Well, here they are, he said. Cool. She tottered off to find the non-existent grapes whilst he pulled out his axe from his robe to be continued.
Well.
What a great story.
Now, grapes. What's the thrust? What's the angle?
I don't
Are
know.
grapes a metaphor?
Don't think so.
Just literal.
I think it's just about grapes.
That's incredible.
I think that's what's so good about it is that
That's the
it's just
boldness.
plain and simple, like new sincerity.
Yeah, like
It's
you don't.
just grapes.
Doesn't need to conform to any previous narrative MacGuffin.
What? How
Just-
great is she wasn't the brightest bulb in the chandelier, but boy, would she get her grapes, whatever it was. It's well funny. Also, another nice thing happened. I read Stephen King's On Writing on my Kindle, and that's sent me down a rabbit hole of just reading loads of other people's books about writing, which is really interesting because, like, logically, it follows that people who are good at writing will be good at writing books about writing, but they're good at making it sound a lot more magical than it is.
Yeah.
So there's both so much truth and so much bullshit in everything that anyone writes about writing. But I was doing a similar creative writing thing with a boy I teach who's autistic. He doesn't really speak at all to his family, to anyone, but will, like, as I've been there for maybe 2 months now, it's kind of ramped up to, he'll ask me like single word questions, like write it down if you want to know if you should copy something. And we've mostly been doing, he's like, I think he's probably about 14 or something, and his family, they want him to do the functional skills qualification rather than GCSE.
Yeah, no, I'll teach some kids who are doing that.
So we've been doing mostly just stuff to do with that, but then it occurred to me that we hadn't done anything interesting ever. So I thought we'd try and do a similar sort of thing, like not quite a sentence each story, but I was going to write like the skeleton of a story and he was going to fill in the blanks with like details that he'd come up with. And so I wrote a very simple, like, once upon a time there was a blank, called blank, lived in a blank, had a blank, all this stuff. And then we started going through it, and he was just
filled everyone with grapes.
the end. No, well, he was really baffled by the concept. For probably about 20 minutes, we were just talking, by which I mean I was talking and sort of trying to judge his reaction as to what it meant, like what this blank space meant as a concept. And he was, I was saying things like, it could be like, what do you think this character should be called? Are they a boy or a girl? Are they young or old? Name anything about this character, basically. And he would think about it for a while and then go, tell me. I was like, well, I can't tell you because it's your character that we're going to come up with. And this went on for a while, and I had to take like a multitude of different approaches to try and get this information across. And eventually, I can't remember what I said, but I wish I'd remembered, because it was a
Very
great
useful.
moment of him just realizing that, there's no right answer. It can be anything. And once he realized that, it was off. Like, we found this list of names, because he was trying to come up with a name, but he was just naming like people in his family, and he wasn't happy with it when we were writing it in. So I did like a random name generator. It generated 100 names, quite American leaning, so like Cody and things like that. And
Names like Cody and other great names just like that.
.org. And the one he settled on was he pointed at one straight away, like I was scrolling through and he just pointed at one, and it was the name Showana, which is a name I've never heard, but he was well into it. So he came up with this character, how old she was. She had a pet rabbit called Midnight. And there was it was really nice to see that transition from someone who's clearly only ever been taught how to like do the very basic, practical, binary, this is right or wrong skills. The moment he was like realizing that you could just write anything, it was like it renewed my interest in art as a concept. It's like, yeah, you can just do anything. You don't just have to answer timetable questions for your whole life.
Here we go.
It's lovely.
Especially not for the English exam.
Very rarely. Sometimes that's when they really get you. We went to see Black Panther, didn't we?
We did.
Speaking of
that was
art.
just last night.
How was it? Name some of your experiences leading up to it, because you were in a lovely mood when you belted into the cinema.
I don't like that, you know, seemingly everywhere I go now, I'm the guy who turns up annoyed because something's happened.
That's
And
just
I don't
your
like
role
it because
in
I like turning up and enjoying a situation and whatnot and being out and socialising. But I am often just in
damn
quite a
personality
mood.
you've got.
This goddamn inescapable
Such a
essence
burden.
of me. I'd driven from Ruislip
You always bring out Ruislip on this
where
show.
I
You
tutor.
fucking agent of the Ruislip tourist board.
That's me.
Which cannot exist.
Guys, there's so many stations out there. All of them as far away from anywhere as you could hope to be.
Hooray.
So I'd driven in, and it was actually not as bad as I thought it would be at that time.
Because we were going to Wembley, which is like,
Yeah.
it's the biggest arena in the country.
Yeah, go for it.
Maybe. Twickenham might be bigger.
Yeah.
But it's certainly like one of the
pretty
largest.
big.
Yeah.
It's
You
the
can see
most
it from
iconic.
space I just made up.
Yeah. I can see it from pretty much everywhere I tutor.
Yeah. And that's space.
Yeah.
So,
That's our space.
ergo.
So I thought that the traffic would be heavier. Wasn't. I thought, this is all right. Then an old woman tried to kill me twice on
Oh,
the same
no.
road.
She wasn't even driving.
Sadly, she was,
Oh.
though I hope never again. Just careering across several lanes,
Wow.
but only ever in front of me.
Was it a cry for help, though?
No.
Was it like that short story
'Cause
where it's like the person following you, dangerous driving behind you?
Stop trying to empathise with her.
I think she was.
No, she was horrid. Because I pulled up
hero.
alongside her to, see if she was okay, / swear violently. And she was just eyes forward,
robotic.
but only forward.
But that's because she was scared.
Of what?
There's something in the boot, obviously, telling her all sorts of things, like where her dead husband is and
Oh,
stuff.
yeah, that's the one.
Yeah.
There will be a bloody body in the boot of that car if I have anything to do with it.
So you
Anyway.
dodged her.
I dodged her.
I don't know why you weren't feeling life affirmed then.
Well, because it doesn't put one in a great mood. I just don't like people doing whatever the fuck they want on the road. There's just a set of
Seemed like a
rules,
bad place for
and some of them are mostly arbitrary,
Yeah.
like speed limits, and that's fine. I get a bit of wanting to go 35 and a 30. You know what? You go for it, you
Naughty.
monster. But just people who, the rest of us have queued in this line of traffic because we can see that 100 yards up the road, the other lane's blocked. And we don't want to have to bother with all this merging nonsense because it just creates a lot of tension, anger and delay. But then some cunt thinks, look at all these idiots just sitting there in that line of traffic. There's a perfectly good road here. Zoom down the front, get to where the car's parked and then just flick the little indicator on. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm coming in here now. Like, you fuck off, pal. But what annoys me more than him is all the people at the front going, oh, go on, let him in.
Yeah, those enablers.
I would be, if I could do that thing from the second Matrix film, where all the Agent Smiths just become everyone on the road.
Oh, that would be good.
That would be great because I'd just become everyone and leave that one prick sat there for the rest of time. But I turned up and I had to find somewhere to park. Now, because of the time that my tutoring had finished, I was already I had 5 minutes to go until the film started. So I just had to pick the nearest parking rather than try and find a road somewhere. The nearest parking was, now let me say this loud and clear for the listeners, £20 for a space. £20.
That's a lot of pounds, isn't it?
That is several pounds because there
Put it
was
in context.
because there was an event somewhere, but it wasn't at Wembley. It wasn't lit up.
No.
There was nothing going on. It was clearly that there's an event going on there at some point, and they've just left the signs up.
Like, why not?
Yeah, because a very useful scam.
It's great. We should start doing it.
I'm going to do it everywhere.
£20
We could charge
is-
that guy who comes around to have singing lessons to park in our spot. So, I turned around and went,
Threw
well,
up.
no, I'm not paying this. Goodbye.
Yeah.
Turned around, drove out, and then pulled up, tried to look up where there was other parking. All the other parking within a
Roislip.
walkable distance was the same company. It was just a different lot.
Oh,
So it was
no.
going to be the same price. So I had to do the U-turn of shame and come back round to the same woman and be like,
Me
I will take that space.
You know what?
Thank you. I haven't got time for you charlatans. So it was £20, or it was £1 an hour if we spent over £40 in the
the
complex.
estate.
But isn't that felt like just as much of a slap in the face that
It is.
you have to spend over £40 so that you can still pay for parking.
it's mad.
It's just nonsense. But anyway, so I did that, and then I had to get in, and then it's a weird shaped building, and
It is
the
confusing.
escalator that I went up to get into the building then
was
was,
like being in an
nowhere
Escher.
near any of the other escalators in the building. So I didn't know how to get up to any higher floor
Yeah.
or higher power.
No,
So
well,
anyone
that
who
much
could
was
help.
clear.
So I like only just got there in time. Then there were idiots ordering tickets at the drinks counter.
Yeah, imagine
which I just
who's like,
can't
the idea
abide.
of merging the ticket and confectionery counters into one place.
If you can't
So poor.
if you can't get your tickets from the simplest menu-driven touch screen, then you just don't deserve film.
No, you should. That barrier for entry seems, if anything, too low
Yeah,
to be allowed to appreciate.
you have to do
moving
the
image.
functional skills, maths, and
Level
English.
3.
So we got in just in time for a very poor Pacific Rim trailer.
Oh, looks like total drivel.
An intriguing.
I don't understand this giant robots subculture of film. Like, it's just not entertaining.
I don't understand the giant robots subculture. Anyone who,
But what about in real life giant robots?
but they're all shit.
I don't know about that because I heard that there were some good ones on the horizon. Literally. There they are now.
The Transformers.
No, but there was that thing where, like, the United States competed in a big robot.
Did you see any of it though?
No, was it poor?
Bullshit.
Was it just like a
It was just like two dustbins being thrown
two
at each other.
Roombas trying to find like the fastest
Two
way out of
Roombas
the corner?
fucking.
Oh. Yeah, I don't really get it.
So I'm not on board for any of that.
What are
but
they
the
called?
film looked-
Kaijus.
the kaiju. No,
I think that is
the
it.
kaiju.
Okay.
No, not the
What's the-
kaijus. Like
Oh,
you
no, it's
said.
not a
It was
subculture
your
of Judaism.
stress that worried me.
Kaiju,
Yeah, there we go.
not the kaijus.
No.
Okay. Is that an important distinction I should keep in
I
mind?
don't know. It just feels moderately more
The
offensive.
word already feels quite offensive.
Yeah, it's dreadful.
Yeah.
It.
Artistically, at least.
I won't say what it sounds like, but you
No,
know.
don't.
So it was the laziest form of sequel, it seems, where they were like, so what's the plot this time? It's like, here's the thing. Same guys. They're back. But there's slightly more of us.
Bigger as well, probably.
A bit bigger, we're not quite as big, but where there's more of us.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's pretty good. And John Boyega's in it, though.
Oh,
I
yeah,
like
there you
him.
go. And Charlie Day.
Oh, that's odd, isn't it?
Very shit.
Weird bit of casting.
So we saw that. Then moderately intriguing Avengers
Oh, yeah. Infinity
War Part 1 trailer.
War. Yeah.
And then that was it.
Yeah.
The Black Panther began.
Good, isn't it?
Very good.
Yeah. A lot
Very,
better
very
than
good.
I expected.
A lot better than all the other Marvel films.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the Marvel films. They're very watchable, but they're very fluffy.
Yeah, they're just a bit of fun.
Yeah.
That is it. And that's fair.
But I find them fun, but not in the cinema very often.
Really?
I've been bored in Marvel films in the cinema more often than not. That's why I stopped going to see them.
That's
I
interesting.
normally watch them on Netflix about 4 years after they come out.
I find them interesting in the cinema and then almost never again. Unless they've got some good like set pieces in which case I'll put up with the fluff.
Yeah, that's fair enough. But no, it was great.
The music was great.
Yeah,
The acting was great.
yeah,
Story was cool.
yeah,
The action scenes were very well done.
yeah. The rhinos, top drawer,
Fucking 3 fuck off rhinos.
and they had armor.
Would you believe,
That's
listeners? And it was just more interesting.
It was definitely more interesting to see a superhero film that you couldn't have just replaced the lead with any other working actor in
exactly.
Hollywood. He was like actually defined by something other than just being muscular. There was more to his character.
Yeah. And it was, I thought it was well put together,
Yeah, it was good fun.
which is more than you can say for a lot of them.
And how do you feel about the backlash, the kind of anti-Wakanda backlash?
Well,
It's not a real
I
place.
actually haven't seen any of it
I think you should have a look. It's quite
The only
entertaining.
backlash I've seen is perhaps even stupider, which is that it's appropriation because it wasn't actually filmed anywhere in Africa, let
Right.
alone the fictional Wakanda.
It wasn't filmed in Wakanda.
It wasn't filmed in Wakanda, no.
Oh, now that does seem a bit dicey.
It does seem like they're
They should have
stealing
at
from
least
that.
founded a country to
Yeah.
just for tax reasons.
Get the UN on board.
Yeah, Seems lazy.
just about nodding towards Palestine. I'm sure we can get him to do Wakanda in like a 2-for-1. But no, I thought it was very, very good.
We would recommend, is that our...
Oh, thoroughly.
We don't have a rating
It's got
system.
a TAS seal of approval.
Yeah, we should come up with an official thing for it, like Keen or Scream, like that. Something like that. Something catchy.
Okay. But we both like Scream, so that might get confusing.
Yeah, but it's about a film that makes you scream, brackets, in rage.
Oh,
or
I
just in
see.
disappointment. Whereas...
Imagine a scream of disappointment.
Oh! It just ends in like blood congealing in the back of your throat. Look, I've got a question for you, and it's from the 36 Toby King.
Sorry, could you just do that again, but with just slightly less enthusiasm?
Look, I've got some bullshit thing to ask you here. It's a question, and it's about love. You'll remember, listeners, that we've asked a grand total of about three of these so far. And it's 36 questions you ask them to each other.
We're looking to be in love by about 2024.
Yeah, I think by anyone's estimation, it's going to be a big year for us and the Democrats. Question 4. What would constitute a, quote, perfect day for you? What a
I
boring
hate this
question.
If I think that if you can fall in love with someone
Who's asked you this?
over the description of a day, then
You
your
deserve each
personality
other,
is
but
just
not in a good way.
It's just not worth worrying about. My girlfriend was watching an episode of RuPaul's Drag Race.
Oh,
I
yeah.
think it's like the Drag of Drags. I can't remember what they fucking call it, but the winners,
top of the top.
like the Champions League for drag racing.
Wow.
Not actually drag
No,
racing.
I'm there.
And I was on the PlayStation, and I was just could hear it next to me, and RuPaul comes into the room where they all hang out,
Yeah.
seemingly, and he's like, "I've got a challenge." I'm not doing the voice
Good.
for everyone's
Thanks
benefit.
for that.
Save you the ardour of editing it out.
I have to edit it down to like a robot voice.
It's just me repeating Mr. Pete.
Yes, to repeat.
And he's like, "Hey, so this week's challenge is based on my idol, Andy Warhol."
Not doing the voice, but you are doing the hand gestures.
Look, they can't see that. I've got to get into character
Yeah, that's
somehow.
fair. That's fair.
And so they had to do 2 different tasks. I can't remember what the second one was because I was too busy pondering the first, which was because I assumed, perhaps offensively, some might say, that this was going to be based on, let's say, the Marilyn Monroe portraits. But instead, Rue, being the sly dog that he is,
Yeah.
went instead for the Campbell soup tin.
Nice.
And the task was to design a soup tin that would convey your charisma, your character, and your,
That's
I
a
don't know.
very abstract bit of television.
But all I could think of was that if you can boil your personality down to a soup tin, you shouldn't
There's
be a
not much
drag
there to
queen. You shouldn't be allowed to talk to other people.
Yeah. That does seem like a very
It
limited
sounds
scope.
like an insult from the thick of it. That he's got as much charisma as a
a
soup
soup
tin. Like,
So you're saying your perfect day is painting soup cans?
as eating soup cans.
Oh, wow. Get the iron in.
I don't know, but my perfect day is just because the trouble with this question is that it's only dominated by cliche.
Yeah, and
either the original cliche or the backlash to it. The original cliche being, of course, like, it's a beautiful sunny day and we go out for a picnic on Hampstead Heath and we can look over the whole
fucking
city.
dire.
And then in the evening we go and we get something to eat and we're looking
look
at
at
each
a
other across the
swan.
table. Maybe, we go for a little walk and it's nice. It's like a warm evening and then we
There's
go
a homeless
home.
man, but he's kind of handsome, so it's fine.
And it's nice, and we chuck a couple of pennies and kick
And he
a
dances a little
sort of
jig,
used condom
like a
at him,
friendly
and just
hobbit.
like, so. And then we go home, and it's just everything just it goes from there. And then of course the backlash to this, which is what my perfect day is, which has become its own cliche, is I am in bed until 3. I wake up.
Generous.
There's stuff that can be heated up in the oven
Yeah.
with no effort.
Why not a step further? Why not just, if it's your perfect day, why not just click your fingers and a banquet
Oh, I
appears?
suppose so. Yeah, I mean, I've taken the Carl Pilkington route, haven't I?
Yeah, you've
That
limited
it's a
your-
perfect day, but it's within the bounds of what a day.
My
can
perfect
be.
day is I become God. And then all the rest of my days.
not become. You are realised
That's what I
as
meant,
God.
yeah.
I suppose so.
That's the
I
more
can't do
interesting
that
choice.
because I'd always squander it.
Why not just have some like limited amount of power that you don't normally have usually though? Why not? It's just your normal day, but you can fly.
Yeah, all right.
That's your perfect.
Yeah,
Don't
I'll
just
take
say
it.
yeah, all right. You can't just have the first one. I can't.
That's fine. I'll take it. Any day that's different from the
Wow.
norm is fine. Yeah, why not?
What about if your perfect day was on the way to Black Panther when that woman had like cut you up? She just exploded into a pink mist.
She just killed me. She'd just driven straight into the side of the door. But I experienced in that instant the entirety of life's joys.
All happiness that you could have.
Yeah.
All at once.
Yeah. And it
Like
was
an epidural.
so incredibly euphoric that
Wow.
it made up for the fact that, I was dead at 24, obese, and hadn't even seen Black Panther.
Okay.
I mean, okay, what about I'm telekinetic then? I've always thought that'd be quite cool.
But only for a day.
Well, it's only a perfect day, isn't it?
Yeah, so
That's the
how
question.
does telekinesis make that day perfect?
I would fuck shit up. I would
All
carry
from
the
bed.
shit out of Collindale, let me tell you.
Be moving stuff
I'd
away.
be just, I mean, I know that I like to think that I'd do the classic, I've got this great power, but I use it to sort of just annoy and aggravate, maybe help here and there. But I know that within half an hour, that's generous, I would be knocking down buildings with it. I'd just be pulling the foundations out of the earth. Everything in that allotment over there, I'd just uproot it.
Wow, just for the hell of
Make
it.
the fuckers start again.
That's very brutal. What about this twist on it then? What if a genie comes down? Where are they from?
Lamps.
Genies comes down from the lamp that I keep on my top shelf.
Imagine
My
if
lamp shelf.
it had a genie that was just in like a standing lamp rather than an antique
in a
one.
light bulb.
You just twist the light bulb and he like comes out. What?
Be very poor, wouldn't it? Well, he pops in and he's like, "Good luck, guys. Good news. We're giving you a perfect day. Don't ask who we are." And then he checks the
God.
forms. He's like, "I just need you to sign here on the perfect day release to say that you're ready for
Yeah,
a
go ahead.
perfect day."
Where is it?
And he's
Just
like,
down
"Just sign there. There's a box there." And oh, I thought there were two boxes. Sharon must have made a mistake on that. I'm going to need you to both sign in the same box. And what it means is I'll give you both the perfect days, but you're going to have to kind of compete because you live in the same space. Any elements of your day that would impinge on the other person's day, they're going to be at serious loggerheads.
Right.
And so we're left with a clashing vision of a perfect day that between us we have to make into some compromise.
Your vision of a perfect day is a day where I don't have telekinesis. it's really at odds with mine.
Yeah. Well, how would we come to a compromise of a perfect day then? So here we have to consider what we both want individually more than anything. And then also, will that be affected? Because if one of my things, like if one of mine was, it would be great if I woke up and instead of living with you guys, I lived with the cast of Glengarry Glen Ross.
Okay, good
and
to
they were
know.
just acting it out in the kitchen 24/7.
So the trade-off there is that I have to be Williamson because you can't be seen in the same room as Kevin Spacey.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay.
So that's that one side.
Okay, so that's that. I was thinking if we're going for your God thing, I'm happy to be the Holy Ghost as long as it's telekinetic.
Okay, no, I can
I'll
slide
take
off on that, I guess.
You can be father and son if you want.
Yeah.
I'm not
I'll
interested
take
in
that.
those.
Oh, well, more for you, I guess. What about in terms of
Everyone
like,
knows that the Holy Ghost is, the
Where it's
silent MVP.
yeah, well, he gets those little red lamps in churches, doesn't he, to show if he's in session.
I'd be fucking with those. Let me
You
tell
turn them on and off.
I'd turn them off, but I'd be sat there anyway, listening to what people were saying about me.
Sneaky. That's not what they're there for. So, do you think the priest goes and extinguishes them? Like, I don't even believe in this ghost. How holy can it be?
If there were a Holy Ghost, I couldn't just turn out his fucking candles.
Okay, that's good. I think we'd be able to come to some sort of shared
What would
vision.
we? What do we want? What could we do for a day?
I think I'd want to go bowling, but there's a caveat to it, which is that we get...
Free.
That's it. That's the only
all we
caveat.
want.
Yeah.
I want 2 for Tuesdays back.
Oh yeah, 2 for Tuesdays was two. What
It was
explained?
2 rounds of bowling.
And the drinks prices were
Ludicrous.
It was like
Extortionately cheap.
£1.23 or something really oddly specific.
It was $1.95, wasn't it?
Yeah, it
for
was
a pint
it was
of
amazing.
Stella
What a time to be
in a
alive.
little chalice glass. So we just want those lined up.
Yeah,
We're hosting a Disney night at the Chandos.
sure. Yeah, and God's there.
Oh God! Well, you're there, aren't you?
Sometimes there. And he's
Sometimes there.
playing piano for the Disney songs, but he's doing like on the fly weird Sondheim arrangements of them.
That's pretty good. And what? Kurt Elling's at the mic.
Sure, Alan Menken's there as well. He's kind of
He's just overseeing.
yeah, he's doing that thing where he sings all his own songs too fast as well.
It doesn't. Yeah. Doesn't
Hasn't
know
got time
any of the
for
words.
it. No. That would be good. We have The Rock there singing half of that song from Moana.
Yeah.
Just the entertainment side's going to be really good.
Lin-Manuel's just in the stocks, lobbing all sorts of shit at him.
You could use your telekinesis for that.
Oh,
We don't
that's
need people
great.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good actually.
Okay, well that's sorted.
Good.
I
Next
think we are
question.
in love. You're right.
When did you last sing to yourself? There's a follow-up.
Oh, okay. Is the follow-up what?
No, it's not. That'll be my follow-up.
Okay. When did I last sing to myself? When did I?
Does it mean a whole song?
I suppose. What, in the car today?
Uh-huh.
On the way to tutoring this
Yeah.
morning.
Was it that song you made up about the old lady that cut you off?
I tell
blown
you
up
what,
head.
that old bitch, I'll get you when I can. It was 10 minutes with not a single rhyme.
Wow.
It's just pure catharsis.
Stream of consciousness.
Yeah, it was like the end of Ulysses, but a lot more violent.
Great.
What was I singing? I know that I was singing. Oh, it was Dave Van Ronk's "Tell Old Bill."
Okay. Now the follow-up here is to someone else? Question mark. Which they've worded poorly, but they mean when did you last sing to yourself? When did you last sing to someone else?
Sing to someone else.
Yeah, I'm
Blood,
taking a. It has to be at least 30 seconds uninterrupted singing.
bloody hell.
Have you ever been like,
so is
oh,
this-
what's that song? And then you get too into it.
Oh no.
When the big man comes and he blows it down and he crashes into this old crow.
So does it have to be specifically because to someone else doesn't necessarily imply for, but I think for is what it's getting
Yeah,
at.
it can't just be while someone else was there. Like if you were just
Yeah.
singing in the car and someone happened to be there, or
So
singing around the
it's like,
flat.
when did I last serenade?
Yeah, serenade
perform.
or perform. Yeah, I guess serenading falls under performance.
Yeah.
Have you ever done like a romantic
God,
song
dude.
to Mark while they've been out?
When am I not?
I thought so.
I do it through the wall.
Oh,
For our
that's
rooms.
lovely.
I suppose the last time that I sang would have been when we did
With me.
when we did
Oh.
our Sweeney Todd thing for
Oh, that
Last
was
Chance
many
Saloon.
years ago.
Because I haven't really performed since then, I don't think. Oh, I suppose karaoke at the Blue Eyed Maid.
Oh, there you go.
There we
That's
go.
the answer. And what did you song?
I songed
Yep.
Mac the Knife.
Nice. Stole it from Freddie's
Darren.
Frank Sinatra set.
I did, because everyone knows that the Frank Sinatra version is not the best, first of all. And secondly, that Freddie cannot be allowed to do all those
I know.
songs.
Imagine having a set for karaoke. What a great idea.
He did come up to me afterwards and admit that he thought it was pretty good.
That's good.
So, you know.
He's humble. My answer is constantly to the first one.
Oh, yeah.
Just-
There's not a second of the day where he isn't singing.
Yeah. And to someone else, I mean,
When did you last sing to someone else that wasn't a performance?
I've never sung to anyone else for free.
You've sung to me, I say.
No, I don't think I've ever done it out of performance. It's not something I do. Oh, well, I guess when I'm teaching.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but even then, not very much because I'm normally like drunk or tired. I'm not warmed up, so I'm mostly just like,
And he only wants to sing
part of your world. If I have to play that one more time, I get the only pleasure I get from teaching that same song to the man 3 hours in a row now is just fucking with the tempo while he's singing, because there are bits that are like in the score. It gives me the freedom to kind of like direct when we come in with the next thing. So if it's a pause, like in the what's the really nice bit? It's basically before the very last part of your world. It's like you can just hold it for hours. And he was just getting more and more nervous as time went on. That's the last time. And also I've got an audition tomorrow. I have to sing 3 different songs for it.
Ooh, what are you going to sing?
I don't know. I haven't chosen. Number 6. Let's do one more and get out. If you were able to live... This is a long question. If you were able to live to the age of 90 and retain either the mind or body of a 30-year-old for the last 60 years of your life, which would you want? It says a 30-year-old, not necessarily you at 30, if that impacts your decision. So this is just saying what you prized more highly, I guess.
I think I'd take mind.
Yeah?
I'm very much down for abusing this body, so I can't really put much stock in it. But
what if it's a random 30-year-old's body as well? Like you could get Zac Efron, or you could get like Bill from Computer Stop, and he just like lives under the basement.
I'll take that.
Yeah,
I'll take that risk. I don't want to be an idiot or an Alzheimer's.
Fair enough. I think mine is
because
the obvious
because I
decision.
think even if you had the body of a 30-year-old, people would be able to tell that you were 82.
What, just because of your frames of reference, like that thing about talking to a lion?
Exactly.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is I'm Wittgenstein. But I think people would be able to tell, and so it wouldn't really be as sexy anymore.
Oh,
And so
but
there'd
people
no
might be into
point.
it though, because you'd have 82
I
years
don't
of authority.
want to be fucking those people. So I'd rather just have my mind.
Yeah, fair enough. What if, caveat to the question, the mind of a 30-year-old means that you only ever remember things from the year when this mind was 30, like you only exist within that frame. You're like Back to the Futuring to and from the parameters of that 30th year.
What you're saying is for the last 60 years of my life, I think I'm on the last day of being 30.
No, you think relative to the day you are in the year. So say it's January 4th of your 59th year. You think it's January 4th of your 30th year. And you just progress through the year and then it rotates back.
Well, that's
so Happy
hell.
New Year!
That's
and then you're
literally
30
hell. That's a Black Mirror episode waiting to happen. So I'd take
not having
the
that
body
anymore.
then.
Okay, but what about the body is the same thing? But by same thing, I mean that it has to follow exactly the same path it took in its 30th year. So when you're 59, on January 4th, if you happen to be in Bangladesh...
I just make sure that on the last day of being 29, I'd kill myself. And then I don't have to
You're going
worry.
for option C neither.
That's the
option
one.
C, death.
Well, it's not option C neither if you keep fucking about with the options.
I'm just checking what
What are you
your
taking?
parameters are. Obviously the mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't really care about.
What if you applied your own mind rule to it?
Still that. I could groundhog my way through that. It'd be fun.
But you don't know that you're doing that.
That's all right. I don't need to. Don't worry about it. Could be doing that anyway.
What do you think? Do you think that, for the first decade and a half, it's fun, like you don't even realise. But then, like, if you keep flashing lights and when you close your eyes, there's that little glint of the image that gradually, as you get 15,
Yeah,
16,
the deja vu
17 times round,
ramps up.
you start to realise what's happening. And you know each time that you come round to the new year that this is it and that you're going no further, and then you click round and you wake up Groundhog Day.
That'd be so cool.
It'd be the saddest
I'd
thing I
like
could
it.
imagine.
I wouldn't love it, but I would, as poetic burdens go, it's a pretty good one.
Wow, imagine the book you could write every single year. Your publisher just being like, I'm sorry, I said we just can't do it again. We've sold it 4 times. The third was a shock. The fourth, a triumph. The fifth, it's not going ahead.
Do you have a secret hunch about how you will die?
I mean, I don't have a secret hunch.
public
Alcohol
hunch.
poisoning's pretty much the even money bet at this point, isn't it?
You're getting on a banner.
I don't know. I mean, I assume if I go, it will be through some sort of complication through drinking, because having given it up for a year, I gained some nice perspective, changed some ways for a bit, but then decided I just don't care. I just don't care.
That sounds like another year's on the cards, Gary. Get your Patreon up. He's going to need it.
So, God, I had for the first time since that year. So, first time in like 10 months or something.
Drink.
I had a Beck's Blue.
Oh, the non-alcoholic one.
And let me tell you, without 6 months of no alcohol beforehand, they are scum. I would gladly swap it for a glass of Flint water.
Wow.
It was genuinely horrible. So yeah, no. I mean, I assume that or I'll be beaten to death for taking the piss out of someone in the wrong bar.
Probably someone from Flint, Michigan, on their way
coming
now.
over. What about you? I mean, I know you don't believe that you're going to die, so
No,
that
but
spanners
I don't
the
believe
works
it.
slightly.
Yeah, it's not quite that I'm not going to die. It's just that, I'm not going to die. Like this corpse that I pilot around might,
No, I know, but that doesn't count then.
because I'll be busy being like a gas cloud of
Yeah,
robotic
pure
truth.
thought.
Yeah, my hunch is
Sounds suspiciously like the Holy Ghost.
hey, now back off. The ghost is my territory.
That's my turf, I'm afraid.
The hunch comes to me in like images and sounds and smells, and all that I know at the moment is that it will either be very quiet and serene or total chaos. Nothing in between.
What you mean is you've got two differing visions.
It depends, because I'm living in the fork in the
You're
road.
fucking Robert Frosting your way
Yeah,
into the next life, literally.
pretty much. I'm gonna get killed by some woods.
Imagine if the two options were that you took the path well trod.
Or you got killed by the woods.
And you walked down it and became so bored that you just died. Or the other option was you just fell into nettles and couldn't get out.
I fell into nettles once when I was a young man.
Never again.
Straight down a hill on a bike I was.
Oh,
that's why
dear.
I've never had fun ever again. Isaac and Declan, says Mark, regular emailer, Stratfold. I was interested to hear that Declan has set himself a daily target to read an hour a day. This is in line with an article I read recently that states that some of the great leaders and business people of our time set aside at least an hour every day to read. The people they referenced were Bill Gates, Barack Obama, and Warren Buffett. So, based on this, I'm sure we can expect Declan to achieve great financial success in the near future.
Well, what I can tell you, Mark, is whilst that is unlikely, I have started the smallest of investments
Have you?
of late with the old money box, you see.
Oh, yes.
And let me tell you.
Tell people what Moneybox is.
So it's an app where you can do weekly deposits and it invests them in various places that you get to choose. But also it has a function where it rounds up. You can connect it to your card.
Yeah.
And it rounds up all your purchases to the nearest pound and invests the difference.
So if you buy like a £1.97 drink, it will take
puts
3p
3p.
and chuck it into the mouse.
But, I mean, I'm going to show you the graph here of my profits thus far. I mean, if you look at that gross
Let's have a
gains
look.
down the bottom there in a week or so.
Oh, wow.
Look at that.
2p.
2p. Just think.
Everyone starts somewhere.
Tuppence.
Yeah.
Patiently, prudently.
They were singing that in that hedge fund that I was working today. Really weird.
Dancing around, there was an old man on the ceiling pissing himself.
The billionaire cornered me in the bathroom the other day while I was just like, I think I'd just gone in to wash my hands because there's a really dusty keyboard that I don't like touching. So I got in to wash my hands on my way out.
Why is it
and
dusty
he came in and
if you
started
constantly have to touch it?
because it lives inside the server room where only dust exists. He came in and started flossing at like 2 p.m. or something, and came over and was like, "Do you know anything about iPads?"
It's a shame that he sounds exactly like Tommy Wiseau.
He does sound similar to him. It's quite uncanny the more I think of it. He's got a softer delivery though. He sounds kind of like a sociopath, Tommy Wiseau.
What would you do, implying that Tommy Wiseau is not?
I don't think Tommy Wiseau... Yeah, I don't think he is.
What would you do if your billionaire it turned out that the reason it sounded like a softer Tommy Wiseau was because
him.
it was coming from beneath a small flesh suit. And he just pulled it off, and that's where his secret money came from.
That's amazing. That would be really good, actually. I'd love to find that out.
You could finally
Imagine if
get
I
him
was
to
the only
record that
person
bit
who
for
had
the
to
podcast.
Yeah. Oh, we didn't put that in last week's episode.
No, so buck up, all right?
Yeah, we'll be in this week's. Psych.
Lol.
No, it probably will.
When it comes out on Sunday.
But no, there was something very disconcerting. I was just thinking, I don't have any particular observation other than it's really weird to see someone who's got so much latent power by knowing that they're richer than everyone else they ever meet, pretty much. See them floss and brush their teeth. It's really weird, like the context of
Is it
him.
because you'd be so uncomfortable with someone just watching?
No,
you
not
do it?
really.
Or
It
like
was just
going into a room and
It
doing
was just
that.
that he looked so, like, you can see his skull. You can see people's skull when they brush their teeth, can't you?
I mean, technically, yes.
Yeah, that's why
But
I
others don't necessarily put it that way. I'm
You
gonna
need to
put that-
start thinking
I'm going to put
about
that
it,
in the little
guys.
file, I think.
Stop, you don't have a file.
I've got a little. I've started a little file.
If you've started a file,
I've started a
I have a
little file
right
of
to
things
know.
you say. Do you want to know what's in it thus far?
No.
What's in it thus far are, and I'm going to give these sentences to the listeners entirely without context.
Wow.
His heart would remind me too much of my own.
That's beautiful. That's
And
poetry.
And this one's more poetry. She fixed it in the way a horse girl would.
What was that? What's that to do with...
I'm not giving any context.
I'm allowed the
No,
context.
no, you're not.
For fuck's sake. Anyway, it was weird to see him outside of the context of their opulent offices with the beautiful like mahogany desk, just inside
This
like a
fucker
normal
has to
bathroom.
clean his teeth like he's got a skull just
but he
like
didn't
me.
have to because it was just the middle of the day and he'd been drinking water. So what's he doing? Must be one of the habits of billionaires is very clean teeth, makes a very clean wallet.
He had only been drinking water, but Tommy Wiseau had been chugging down cheese
just
and onion
salt
crisps
grains.
like no one's business.
So based on this, I'm sure we can expect Declan to achieve great financial success in the near future, though the downside to this would be that we'd probably lose the Patreon songs at the start of each episode. Now, I didn't detect any sarcasm necessarily there, but I'm certainly very insecure about the reception of the Patreon songs because they do feel, to me, to be the peak of self-indulgence in an already self-indulgent
They are, but
show.
we haven't had any overt criticisms or complaints.
Not like with Hooked, when
No.
it was almost a riot when we we dared to continue that, in hindsight, boring bit of content.
So I say carry on.
Changing subjects, Mark continues. I like the titling of the last episode, 64 Zoo Lane.
Interesting story about that.
What? That we just came up with it and then
Isaac
forgot.
just went, oh, episode 64 when he has to type it in at the top of the show before we know what it's going to be about.
Yeah.
Spoiler.
Yeah.
And went, oh, let's just call it what? Zoo Lane.
'Cause of
Wrote
the
that in,
programme.
and then it came out.
Yeah,
Zoo Lane,
64 Zoo Lane. This made me try and think of possible names for future episodes. I was only able to come up with 101 Dalmatians and 2001 A Space Odyssey. The latter being an ambitious target, as you would not get there for another 37 years based on one episode a week. Perhaps another good reason to push to 2 episodes a week to get this down to only 18 and a bit years. He's done the math, as they say. Regards, Mark. Thank you very much, Mark. Now, look, the 2 episodes a week thing, it's very much, it's on the horizon, sure, but the horizon has never been exactly as
Further away.
close, which is to say far. No, we are still quite close to it. And, you know, we could just start doing 2 episodes if we wanted.
Yeah.
I say this quite a lot, but I'm taking some time on Sunday, okay? You're around on Sunday.
I'm here.
Hold me to it. We're going to sit down, you and I, and we're going to go through my calendar. And sure, it will mean you giving up any fun you were going to have on that day.
Oh, that's fine,
Maybe you're
yep.
going to stretch your telekinetic legs, so to speak, and just have at it with the, you know, the root vegetables. What about the person who was murdered in those root vegetables?
Strangled to death over an
Yeah, by a
allotment.
heroin addict, I think. Or I might have made that
No,
bit
I
up.
think it was by a jealous allotment holder.
What? It was
I
a...
believe it was allotment drama.
No one is ever killed because of an allotment.
That's what you
Alone.
say. We live in Midsummer Murders.
Bloody hell, England's a joke. Stupid
That's
country.
Brexit Britain
Yeah.
for you.
What was I saying?
Did you see earlier? There was something I retweeted, and it was Brexit. Oh no, it was Damage Limitations: A Tragedy in 4 Acts, and it was 4 headlines from the last 12 months, or all of things David Davis has said. And the first one was
David
Britain,
Davis,
the Brexit
secretary.
idiot.
Yes.
And the first one was Britain will be stronger outside the EU, says Davis. Then the second was no deal could benefit EU, says Davis. And then third was bespoke deal, possibly last option, says Davis. And then the one from today, which was post-Brexit Britain will not be, quote, some Mad Max hellscape.
Wow, imagine having to say that sentence.
It's just an incredible
Guys,
dropping of the bar.
It's not going to be, you know,
It's not going to be some
Mad Max. Closer to
dusty
Fallout
apocalypse.
3. Wow, that's a shame, isn't it? What was I saying? I was saying something about how we could... Oh, yeah, we're going to restructure our time.
Yeah.
My time. And reprioritise all things shame in an effort to maybe carve out space for that second episode. So if you'd like 2 of these a week,
Should we
remembering...
do a little Twitter poll? And not as a kind of... Not in the Brexit referendum sense of whatever
an
it says
advisory
goes.
poll.
As in it's literally to gauge some...
Yeah, okay, that's a
some
good idea.
response.
Yeah, so have a look at Twitter. That's a Shamecast on Twitter. We'll have a pinned post, maybe, asking your opinion on episodes. And also, to help us get there and to help us justify me kicking poor students to the dust, then head over to patreon.com/shamecity, and anything you have and feel you can give would be much appreciated. It helps us to kind of have time to focus on stuff that we want to be doing rather than teaching the same English lessons 8 times a week. Oh, what an episode, hey?
Hashtag funny fish.
They are there, aren't they?
Odd little chaps.
Look, people like getting in touch with the show, don't they? They love it, can't get enough.
Cannot.
Help them out, though. Throw them a rope.
Look, if you're jealous that it seems to be the same few people whose emails we're reading out,
It's partly because they're probably better than you, sure.
don't take that to heart, though.
Because
everyone starts somewhere.
Yeah.
Mark, I'm sure,
Mark's
started
first
off...
email was 3 scribbles and a small sticker. No, it wasn't. I'll take that back.
Wasn't it a picture of some taxidermied mice?
That was early, yeah. That was great.
That was phenomenal.
He set the bar high.
That was great content for us, if not for
It's on the website,
the listeners of the audio. Isn't it?
Yeah. Shame.city.
We owe everything to Mark.
Yeah.
Anyway, if you'd like to be the new Mark, if you'd like to challenge him for his title,
Ritual combat.
then you could too email us at tas@shame.city.
True.
Or you can contact us via the website shame.city/contact. You can find the show on Twitter at That's a Shamecast.
Vote in the poll.
You could find Isaac at IsaacBD or myself at Cynical Declan. You could also leave us a beautiful little eloquent, erudite 5-star
Appreciated.
review. Shame.city/reviews.
Maybe.
Maybe
Never
review.
bother
Maybe
checking.
reviews.
Yeah, they are helpful, please. Thanks about that. And subscribe on iTunes as well, even if you
yeah.
don't use it, because who does, to be honest? It's a very poor bit of software, very cumbersome, but it helps us somehow. And of course, word of mouth remains the best of mouth in 2018. And that means just tell a friend. I want you to just text someone right now that you've not spoken to in 8 years. I had this thing that I heard about, did I tell you about this? Where it's like a dating trend. I couldn't remember what it was called, robo-copping, I think. And what it is, you, out of nowhere, and apropos of nothing, you PayPal $1 to an ex with no comment to it.
Right.
You just send them $1 and see what happens. And the idea has amused me so much that I've done nothing but that for the last year. No, I haven't done it myself, but I just think it's a great idea and I would encourage anyone
Should we all
to do
do
it.
it?
Yeah, I think it's...
Should we each do it to an ex?
Sure, okay.
All right.
It's so odd though, isn't it? Like, how do you react to that happening? Oh, this is a bit of content I forgot, but it's only a minute it will take. I impulse bought something on eBay and I want listeners to engage with some potential ideas for using it. What it is, it's 50 plastic spiders and it cost me 99p only. It takes about 3 weeks to ship from China.
Good.
But when they've arrived, I want ideas for the most havoc and chaos that we can cause with just 50 plastic spiders. I'm going to prefer ideas that lean towards a slow
Psychological
build
terror.
of psychological warfare rather than just find someone who's vulnerable and chuck 50 spiders at
Tell
them,
you what, Fulcrum next door.
he's going to get spidered.
That's it.
He's going to get spidded, as they say.
Spidded out of the building.
So yeah, any ideas you have, tass@shame.city or isaac@shame.city if you want me to do them too, Declan. Excellent. Well, look, thanks for listening. Do tell a friend. Venmo your ex $1, because why not? And we'll see you on episode 66.
Bye, guys.
Look for the bare necessities, the simple bare necessities. Forget about your worries and your strife. I mean the bare necessities, oh Mother Nature's recipes that bring the bare necessities of life. Wherever I wander, wherever I roam, I couldn't be fonder of my big home. The bees are buzzing in the tree to make some honey just for me. The bare necessities of life will come to you. For the bare necessities, the simple bare necessities. Forget about your worries and your strife. I mean the bare necessities, oh Mother Nature's recipes that bring the bare necessities of life. Wherever I wander, wherever I roam, I couldn't be fonder, my new home. The bees are buzzing in the tree to make some honey just for me. The bare necessities of life will come to you. Necessities, the bare necessities, the bare necessities of life will come to you.